going over 10 things I like and 10 things I dislike about my van. I found these videos really helpful when I was making my van and deciding what I wanted and what I didn't want in the van, because it kind of taught me what other people's mistakes were and it allowed me to not create the same mistakes in my van build. I did my best to compile a list for you, so if you decide you want to make a van, you can think about these things before you start the build. The first thing in my van that I dislike are the switches at the back of the van that I can't actually reach. I put them in there thinking that it'd be the best spot for me to charge my phone when I'm going to sleep, but I can't even get my hand back there, so those don't really work for what I wanted them to work for. However, I can use the three-way switch back there because that one is easier to reach with my hand and it's not actually a pain. I have like so many plugins in this van that that's not an issue for me. Something that I don't like about my van that I just realized right now that wasn't on the list is that every time I open my back doors, my pillows just fall out. So I definitely want to get a net that I can attach, like a small sort of like volleyball net, or not a volleyball net, that's huge. I like a tennis net, ping pong, something. It doesn't have to be like a sport net, but I just need like a little net that's like short so that it doesn't get in the way, but like big enough that it like holds the pillows up every time I open the back door, because I do open the back door quite a bit and it is quite annoying to have my pillows fall on top of me or fall outside of the van because you don't really want your pillows to be dirty. Something that I dislike about my van is that my curtain is not removable. So my curtain that separates the back of the van to the front is not removable from the curtain rod that it is attached to. This is because we sewed it so that it has like a loop and it just goes straight on. And the problem is that in order to take that curtain off, I would have to take off the entire curtain rod, which is not ideal because sometimes you want to clean your curtain. I found though that my curtain doesn't actually get that dirty. And if I do want to clean it, it's usually just wanting to clean the bottom of the curtain. So I have to just put it in a bucket and like sanitize it like that and then let it dry on a hot day. Which obviously is not the most ideal, but it does work for me and it has been working and I'm okay with it. It doesn't get that dirty. I'm a pretty clean person for the most part. Something else that I don't like about my van is the storage underneath the bed. So I love having the storage underneath my bed. It's just the way that it is that I don't like. So this is easily fixable. Like I just need to put shelves in there or drawers. And my plan is actually to put a set of 3 drawers into the back of the van. I want to have one for my tools, one for my camping gear, and one for my climbing gear. And along the side of that, have a space that I can put my mountain bike. Having drawers would help me immensely because I do have so much gear, and to be able to organize it and utilize all of the space in the back would be amazing. Because right now it's just in bins and it's like you can't use all of the space to its full potential. And in the front of the van, like in my front area underneath the bed, it would be really nice to just have one shelf, literally just a shelf, to allow for me to store stuff underneath it and on top of it instead of just on one platform, because the whole top of that space is being underused. Another thing that I'd say is a dislike about my van is my wooden paneling. So basically, I love my wooden paneling. Like, I love it and I would not go any other way. However, I do live in a very humid place because it is so wet here all the time. The temperatures change the wood a lot. Like, it expands and then it shrinks and then it expands and then it shrinks. And when you have panels, so many different pieces of wood expanding and then shrinking and expanding and then shrinking, it's kind of annoying because you can't really stop it from happening. That's kind of frustrating when the panels start to expand and you're like, okay, well, now my ceiling isn't flat. The only place that it did happen on my ceiling was in one spot, and what I did is when it kind of shrunk back enough for me to put screws in it, I just screwed the ends of it, hoping that that's gonna keep it from doing that again. One thing about my shower that I don't love is that, well, to be honest, I don't really mind actually. I don't really have any privacy when I'm showering because I used to set up a shower curtain from the back, like from the edge of the back of the doors. I have a rod that I can set up and I have magnets on it so it'll stick up, and then I'd put like a curtain along that way and then I have kind of like a room. I can still do that, but I don't. I say that's something that I dislike, kind of. I'm usually too lazy to put up that curtain, so I just wear a bathing suit in public places and I just shower there and I don't really care. If people see me, I don't really mind because I'm wearing a bathing suit and it's whatever. One time I showered at a truck stop. That was a little bit weird. It is what it is. You do what you gotta do to be clean, you know? Something that is kind of annoying my van is to turn on my propane, I do have to go to the back of my van, which again, then the pillows fall out and then that's kind of annoying. However, I am okay with it. It's not a huge issue. It's actually kind of nice having it back there just because once it's on, I don't really need to turn it on and off when I'm parked. It is kind of annoying if it's pouring rain and you have to go back and like turn on the propane, all that kind of stuff when you want to cook. But it's like, it's either that or I have 2 propane tanks, and it doesn't really make sense to have 2 propane tanks when I have all this storage now for my kitchen because my propane tank is in the back. It also hooks up to my shower, so it makes sense that it's back there because then I could turn it on and off when I'm going to shower. All in all, it's a little bit inconvenient, but I'm totally okay with it. There's not really a better spot for it to be. Another thing that I don't really love about my van is that my speakers in the front when I'm driving don't attach to the speakers in the back. That when I was doing it, I was like, oh, it's not a big deal. It's not really gonna matter because who's gonna be riding in the back of my van when I'm driving? In the front, there's literally only 2 lousy speakers because Sprinter vans are not made for jamming out, surprisingly. So they don't really, the sound doesn't really carry to the back. All in all, I don't really have that issue because I'm driving. Another thing that I do want to change in the van eventually is I want to hook up my battery and all of my solar system to my alternator in the front, because that way in the really dreary times of the year, my van will still be at full charge because every time I drive it, it will charge my batteries. And finally, the last thing that I hate about my van, it's more so just an inconvenience, is I have nowhere to put my laundry. Originally when I was making the van, I did want to have like a little laundry kind of chute, and I was gonna do, I could still do this, I just don't know. I was gonna have a little laundry chute that was gonna be kind of like a little porthole, and I could put all of my clothes in there, and then it would just go into like a little bag or a little box or a little whatever, something to catch all my laundry. And I didn't do that because I couldn't find a porthole that I liked because I'm very picky, and yeah, so that just didn't happen. And then I was like, I don't want to have a hole there with nothing covering it because I also, again, I'm picky and I didn't like it. So now I just don't have anywhere to put it. I feel like my list of things that I hate is kind of far-fetched because I absolutely love my van, and the things that I do want to change are things that I can change, and I had planned to change eventually, I just haven't gotten around to it. I can open and close my gray water tank, so I don't actually have to take out the gray water every time I want to empty it. That's like super convenient because I know a lot of people take theirs out and they have to empty it in certain places, but it's really nice to be able to just open it when I know that I can just let my gray water out. And I do use biodegradable soap, so that's never an issue. So as long as I'm in a place that I know that it won't matter if I just let out my gray water underneath the van, then I will do that. And I also love my pee funnel. My pee funnel is so convenient. If I'm somewhere in the middle of the day that like would be totally fine to just go pee in like the corner on the like ground, like if I'm outdoor camping, it's so nice to be able to just come into the van and pee in here so that no one else, like I don't have to risk other people seeing me just hop in a squat like in the back corner. Obviously I'd opt for a bathroom anytime that I can get one, but sometimes it's just not an option, and when you really gotta go, it's pretty nice to have this as an option. Another thing that I love about my van is my windows and my fan. So I have a Max Air fan and I love it because it has a rain cover, so I can have it open even when it's raining, which is super huge because I do live in Vancouver, so it's raining all the time here. My windows are RV windows, so they open out so that I can have them open when it is raining, which is amazing as well. The best thing about the combo of the windows and the fan is that I can have the air pulling out of the van. So if I have both my windows open, I get a cross breeze from one side to the other of the van, but not only that, I get it from the front of the van to the back because of where the windows are positioned. It allows me to not feel like I'm dying when I'm in the middle of like the interior of BC and it's like scorching hot desert. So that I'm very grateful for. Another thing that I love about my van is my pull-out table, because having the ability to choose the length of the table that I want is amazing. I know a lot of people have like a flip down table, or you know, like a table that like you can move it around and maneuver it, which is amazing as well, but you can't change the size of your table. And this, I can change the size of my table whenever I want. It's amazing because a lot of the time I don't want a full table. The only time that I ever really want a full table is if I'm like hosting and I have a bunch of people sitting in here eating with me, because my table does get actually very big. Most vans I don't think have tables this large when it is fully extended. Another thing that I love about my van is my massive closet. It allows me to store all of my clothing, which is a lot because I do love to go thrift shopping. But on top of that, if it's not fully full, it also just serves as another space for any other storage. In most people's vans, they have the top shelves or the top drawers that just go along the entire way of the van, and then to get to your clothes you have to go on top of your bed. I didn't love that as an option because I didn't want to have to go on top of my bed to get all my clothes every single time, and also that's not very much space for all of your clothing. Because I do live in Canada, it's nice to have space that I can put all my jackets and all of my bigger clothing items. Another thing that I love about my van is my 3-burner stove. Having 3 is so nice because I don't feel like I'm limited to the amount of things that I can cook, and usually I don't feel like I need 4 burners, so 3 is like perfect. Another thing that I love in my van is my outdoor shower. I love showering outside. It's something that I loved since I can remember, and I've always loved our outdoor shower at my cabin, so I wanted to create something similar for my van. One thing that I do love about my van is that I do have the speakers in the back that go throughout the entire van, and then also on my back doors. I have sound throughout the entirety of my van. Music is super important to me, so I'm absolutely in love with having that and having the ability to open my doors and play music out there while I'm showering or working on the van or anything like that. Another thing that I love is my little book and CD nook. I love it because it was like an awkward space that I didn't know what to do with, and I really loved the idea of having like almost like a shelf or something to put books in. And the last thing that I love about my van is my pull-out fridge. I prefer this fridge over like a standing up fridge just because I'm able to pull it out like a cooler and utilize all of the space in there instead of just the shelves. I find that because it is a drawer kind of style fridge, I can just fit so much more food in there. Like I can just pack that thing. There are so many other things that I absolutely adore about my van that I would love to say here, but I don't really have enough time for that because I'm only allowed to have 10 things. Anyways, so that is all that I have to say about my van and things that I love and hate about it. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope that you found it helpful in building your own van if you are planning on doing that. If you have any questions about my van build specifically, please let me know down below in the comments. I'd love to hear from you guys and love to help you guys build out your dream van as well. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye! Saying things that I love. This is an issue. I'm literally like just listing off everything that I love about my van, and I can't think of anything that I don't like.
Honestly don't. I should be the last to know. We're all in this. I stand